Do you want better battery life on your iPhone? I know I did, but I was doing 3 things that, according to Apple, permanently and irreversibly damaged my battery, and I had no idea. I couldn't stand having to constantly check the battery charge indicator to see where it is, then having to swipe down to see the actual percentage. So today I'm going to show you how to get incredibly better battery life with your iPhone. All right, so the first thing we're going to do is head over to Settings, Battery, and then wait for the information to load. Once it's there, you can see the last 24 hours and the last 10 days, and then click on where it says Show Activity. Here you'll be able to see how much time each app was using the battery while in the background. Now with some apps, you're probably actually using them in the background, like for example, when you're listening to music. But some apps are running and refreshing in the background without you knowing, so let's take care of that. Once you have a list of apps, head over to Settings, General, Background App Refresh, and then disable any apps that you don't want to allow to run in the background. Now the next tip is to make sure that you're always running the latest version of iOS. Apple is constantly making updates, and some of them are designed to optimize the battery life. There's also a lot of other reasons to do this, so head over to Settings, General, Software Update, and if an update is available, make sure that you plug your iPhone into a power source and then run the update. Now the next thing I want you to do is to avoid extreme ambient temperatures. And here there's a critical difference between hot and cold temperatures. The ideal operating temperature for the iPhone is between 32 and 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 0 to 35 degrees Celsius. If you use your iPhone in very cold temperatures, you're most likely going to notice a decrease in battery life, but that decrease is a temporary condition. And once the iPhone warms back up, the battery performance will return to normal. Now, hot temperatures are a whole different story. If you expose your iPhone to temperatures higher than 95 degrees Fahrenheit or 35 degrees Celsius, you can permanently damage your battery capacity. And even storing the iPhone in a hot environment can damage the battery irreversibly. And when we go on vacation, a lot of times I just look at my phone for a second, then I put it down in the towel, then I might go in the pool or I might go play some beach volleyball. And when I come back, the phone has that warning. It's like scorching hot and you've got the warning where you can't turn it on. It's like the battery is freaking out. And then I can't actually use my phone at all until it cools down. And there are times when I'm charging the phone with a power bank when I'm not using it because, I want it to be fully charged when I come back. So it sounds like I've been really messing with my battery. Now some deterioration is unavoidable, but you can see that my phone now is at 78% maximum capacity. Now the next tip has to do with battery hungry apps. So if you go to Settings, Battery, and then take a look at that list of apps that we saw before, you can see which apps are consuming a disproportionate amount of battery life for the amount of time that you use them. If you constantly see an app that you don't really need, you can delete it or maybe look for a more battery-friendly alternative. Now, the next thing I want to talk about is low power mode, which was introduced in iOS 9. This is a very simple way to extend the battery life of your iPhone once it detects low battery. You can go to Settings, Battery, and then enable low power mode. This will reduce the display brightness. It will also optimize the iPhone performance, and it will minimize system animations. Another thing that it will do is prevent some apps like the Mail app, for example, from downloading content in the background. In addition to that, features like AirDrop, iCloud Sync, and Continuity will be disabled. You can still make phone calls, you can text, you can send and receive email, and you can browse the web, and then once your phone charges up, low power mode is automatically disabled. Next, let's talk about Bluetooth. I use my AirPods pretty much all day, so I have Bluetooth turned on, but if you don't use Bluetooth accessories with your iPhone, definitely turn it off and save battery life. You can do this from the control center by swiping down from the top right, then tapping on the blue Bluetooth icon. The next tip is one that I didn't give a lot of thought to, and that's screen brightness. And I don't mean that I didn't know that a brighter screen uses up more battery life, it's just that I never really consciously thought to do anything about it. So for most of what I do, which is just glance at my phone for a second to see an alert or a text or something that came up, I don't really need the phone to be as bright as I wanted when I'm reading. So now I have my screen at a much lower setting. Again, you can swipe down from the top right to bring up the control center and then make the adjustment. Now moving on, a few features that you may choose to eliminate are push notifications and location services. And those obviously use up battery life. So to do this, you can go to Settings, Privacy, and then Location Services. And there you can disable location services altogether or control it by app to optimize your battery life and user experience. When it comes to push notifications, You may notice that a certain app constantly wakes up your display with notifications, and then each time it does that, it's using up your battery life. Now you can turn off notifications by going to Setting, Notification, then tapping on the app and setting Allow Notifications to off. Now one app that's constantly using up battery life on my phone is the Mail app, because it's looking to see whether I received that new email so it can alert me about that super important spam email that I just got. Now to reduce the fetch interval, you can go to Settings, Mail, Accounts, Fetch New Data, which is all the way at the bottom, and then scroll again all the way down to the bottom to the area that's called Fetch. There you can set it to manually or select an interval. Now another important tip has to do with charging. Now try to keep your iPhone between 50 to 100% charge, and don't keep your iPhone plugged in for too long once it's fully charged. Also, if possible, don't let your iPhone reach 0% before charging it again. It's better to charge it for a few minutes throughout the day, and that way you don't risk it going too low. Now, if you use your computer to charge your phone or a laptop, make sure that you disconnect your iPhone from the computer if it's turned off or if it's in sleep mode or standby mode, because if you keep it connected, that could slowly drain the battery. Now the next important tip is to shorten your auto lock time. To do this, go to Settings, Display and Brightness, and then scroll down to the auto lock section and then set it to as low as you feel comfortable. If you have it set to 5 minutes, for example, it means that every time that you unlock your phone and then you don't actively turn it off or lock it back up, it stays up for an extra 5 minutes. Now that may not seem like a lot, but the average person unlocks their phone more than 160 times a day, so that adds up. And if you set it to 30 seconds instead, you can save 4 minutes and 30 seconds of battery life every time you forget to lock your phone. Now the next tip has to do with connectivity, and Wi-Fi uses less power than a cellular connection. So to get the best battery life out of your iPhone, make sure that you're using Wi-Fi whenever possible. Now hopefully this video was helpful. Click on my face to subscribe and then watch one of these videos. You know what I always say? Buy it nice or buy it twice. Good luck and see you soon.